Last time on Dice Funk, bruh.
Which wand are you talking about?
It was like a wand. It was made out of a spine. Like a person spine. You know, the thing it's inside. I'll turn around. I'll poke it for you.
Well, hold hands and fortify the veil. This sounds very useful, and like we should not have shadow demon nightmare monsters. I mean, one thing, if you even think about it, if a lonely traveler comes through our village and just stays for a few nights, they could just become a... oh, wow, we should really get on this right away.
Hello, I've brought drugs.
I crit. Remember when you tried to convince Mold not to be a villain and you botched? Just these two rolls together are chef's kiss.
Mold, I knew your answers were too simplistic. You've got an incel in you.
Bother. He may come back with a different gender.
Look, sometimes you do psychedelics and you meet the lesbian ball of energy in the sky and you come back very different.
Right.
Baku, You've kissed my daughter. It's only right that you give her your name.
Oh, boy. I think that Baku says Anne, no E, and then is silent for the rest of the trip.
Fairy, you forgot something earlier.
Oh, what was it? I'm always leaving my little statuettes. I have a little cat, a little owl, and a little snake. Which one was it this time?
This time it was a snake scorpion.
What do you want?
Nobi picks Very up with the one claw, and with the other claw grabs his legs and pulls.
Ruth says, "Please, not Neelith."
You're weakening the whole town by refusing to do this job the right way. This is how the strong behave. And he drops Neelith to the floor, and with one hoof, he stamps her out. And I think that Nobi, one claw of the quarry, the one that was just holding Neelith, now like reaches into the dark fluff, and pulls out a star map.
It's very weird when people can tell something's wrong and they're like, "Hey, what's up?" And you're like, "Yeah, so I'm on this D&D, this Dungeons and Dragons podcast. I'm gonna have to tell you a whole bunch of backstory and tell you why I'm sad about a fictional tadpole today." You wouldn't get it.
Yeah, I'm mostly okay, buddy. I just did a really bad thing. What was it?
It's like that meme of the guy at the party, and he's in the corner thinking they don't know that I was my favorite brain alien died.
There's been a few of those memes made about Ozzy thinking about they don't know about the stars above and below. Just like
Yeah, it's just fun being like, "Hey, no, I'll let my squid die. I knew it was coming, but I'll let my squid die, and I'm very sad about my squid. That I gave the all clear for, but I'm still very sad about it."
I mean, I think in the first conversation, we were riffing on how shit Nobi is, and I made a joke about it. And I feel like Laura, I think you said to me, Laura, like, "Damn, like, let's do that."
I mean, look, this was a conversation that vaguely happened a long time ago that was basically like, "Hey, I've never had a character die on Dice Funk, and I've been on this show for like, this is my 6th season, I think. I mean, seems like there could be some interesting narrative if that happened."
Oh, God.
Put that out there. And it was a very different thing when it happened, and suddenly it's 4 a.m. and I'm in bed crying about a little tadpole.
I remember even like on a simpler note being like chatting with Sophie about Nobi like doing something and blaming Aze for it.
Yeah.
Hey, listeners, I hope you're all right. I'm sorry I traumatized you.
I was very excited about the possibility of flump player character.
There was a little bit of me that was like, can you let me survive long enough so that for 1 minute I get to be the flump?
But Sophie made the very compelling argument that that's the tragedy of a life being cut short, is all the things you don't get to do.
Yeah, that's what I said. I was just like, yeah, that's. I think it was like you were arguing that as a good reason to, give Neelith more time, and I was like, yeah, but that's the murder.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's a murder. When the moon hits your eyes like a big snake lobster, that's a murder.
God damn it, Austin! I'm on the verge of crying here, and this is like.
Oh god. Laura said to me earlier, like, I realized as it was happening that planning it and it happening are not the same thing, and I was like,
Yeah.
I hadn't thought about it until you said it. I was like, yeah, actually, in the middle of doing it, I was like planning it and doing this are not the same thing. This is fucking really intense.
There was a very big difference between, yes, I give you permission to kill off my character because I recognize that would do some really interesting things for the plot. Go ahead, make it brutal, do the thing. And then suddenly it's happening, I'm like, oh no, I know I told you not to give me any closure, but I don't get any closure now.
It's like the inverse of the whole reaping and sowing. Me reaping, yes, this will be emotionally hurtful. Me sowing, oh no, it really hurts more than I thought. Fuck.
It's funny you say brutal as well, because part of the difficulty with planning a murder in D&D is that so many people can speak with the dead, and so for this to work on even a basic level, Nobi had to become fucking Leatherface to get away with it.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, pretty much.
it's real fucking convenient that Neelith became a defenseless tadpole. That really helped.
It was also, speaking of planning a murder, this is just a planning in Dungeons and Dragons murder note. Like, I just thought it was really funny when Laura and I started planning this, and I was just like, okay, but so Neelith levitates, so can't be pushed off a height, doesn't eat, so can't be poisoned, and like, what was the other one? But yeah, there was another one, and I was like, yeah, it's just got to be good old-fashioned horrible violence.
Yeah, so that's where we're going to start. I don't know exactly how far we're going to get. I think we're probably going to keep dissolving into this kind of talk. But where's this open? I'm imagining there's a mob of people outside of Ozzy's place. That's my mind palace right now.
Yeah, I think that's a good space to start.
Aze, Drip, and Basil are inside. Phillippa is standing in front of the door, and everyone else is, like, give us the boy. It is time. It is time for justice.
Give us your boy.
So we know who killed or what?
Well, they found a star map at the murder scene. Actually, that reminds me, which star map was left at the crime scene?
Oh, okay. It was one that was stolen from Ozzy's place.
Got it. In this case, we'll say that it was a satchel of star maps that, have like the detailed maps of the Foundation and Firmament and stuff like that.
I mean, Nobi said to the, I forget their names right now, the
Tum-Tums,
yeah,
to just steal the shit,
to just round everything up, and so it would just be one piece of, like, basically, like, even just chart or piece of paper. Nobody doesn't know, like, yeah.
Oh, sure. Yeah, that's what I figured.
The Tum-Tums are witnesses.
to a crime, but
they're also loyal to Nobi, so it's okay.
By the way, before we do anything else, Austin, I should roll for Benefic and Malefic.
Come on.
Before
Malefic.
There we go. Fuck yeah. So, to clarify, I rolled an odd number, which means that for the first time in this entire campaign, when doing the cosmological relationship reading, the read was malefic. So Aze's sitting down behind the curtain, like reading his charts. He's got to get a read for the day. And for the first time in the entire winter so far, it just comes up malefic, like something really fucking bad is. And then all of a sudden he hears the mob.
I think as soon as it's apparent that there is a mob and they are coming for Arze, I think Basil heads outside and stands outside the front door.
I mean, to Slime's question, Slime, you're like mingling among the people, like, what happened? Why are we doing this? What's going on? And there's just like, you know, the main characters we know in the village, and also some randos who mostly keep to themselves, just saying the things they heard. Just, you know, Neelith, Very, and Ruth were murdered. There was a star map at the scene. Did you know Very saw Aze with Voya the night she disappeared? Stuff like that. Like, oh, did you hear Aze killed the Kitsune?
Where is Neela's brain?
Well, yeah, that's something that we have to...
That's something to establish.
Yeah. So as the governor, I assume you have jurisdiction over the crime scene, which would be Ruth's house. Who's been let in? What's the CSI procedure? Because the person who would be in charge of the investigation is the number one suspect.
I think Phillippa would, trying to be quick thinking, you said that this mob is happening kind of fast, would say to the remaining Moist Watch to guard the crime scene, like not to go and investigate it, but to protect it, because otherwise people will try to go in themselves.
Okay, so I guess that means that we almost kind of did a flashback there, where it's like the scene was stumbled upon, and now we're trying to secure it. And then at that point, once like the people can't get in, they go over to Aze's. You know, it's like, but yeah. So we're kind of having a split situation here, because Slime, it sounds like you want to force your way into the crime scene.
Yes.
Okay. Is anybody going to do anything about that? I guess that's the most pressing question. That's how the episode opens, is you see Ruth's house, just kind of the flap, gently flapping in the snowy breeze. You know, Phillippa, Kat, and Nobi outside, like, you can't come in here, Slime. And Slime has 100 arms.
See, I was going to ask a question, which is, does Phillippa send Basil to guard the scene as well, or is Basil not considered a member of the Moist Watch?
I mean, not de facto. Like, there's no reason that Basil would default to being on the Moist Watch yet. That's actually something we need to, like, establish.
Indeed, I assumed that was the case. I think that Basil initially wouldn't realise that, and as soon as that's twigged, I think Basil heads off to go and try and back up Arze.
I'm thinking about that. This is actually a problem. It's like, that there isn't a trait Basil possesses besides being a player character that means he should be on the Moist Watch.
Well, I mean, he did help with the operation to take down the Kitsune.
Oh, I forgot about that. Sorry.
Also, just the fact that he's a unicorn, and in D&D unicorns are like CR9 or something, like approaching demigod level.
Okay.
So he's just like, he starts as like in his prime, Jean-Claude Van Damme, and can only go up. So
I mean, that's the thing. I think Basil assumed, because I went and helped on a Moist Watch mission, I'm one of the team now. Oops, I guess not. And off he goes.
that definitely feels like an interesting conversation to have, because also who would vouch for you? Literally only Aze, who is now in serious trouble. So we're going to get there. I feel like you are still at home with Aze, Basil is. But first, what about Slime trying to storm into the crime scene? Phillippa, Nobi, and Kat, I guess, are what stand between Slime and destroying the evidence.
Destroying the evidence? How do you know I would destroy it?
Okay, so how do you approach the scene?
From Slime's perspective, they've never experienced an emotion like this, so just being told they can't do something is not something they can process, because social whatevers just don't make sense right now.
Mm-hmm.
So they just want to go in there, and they don't care.
Then I think Phillippa would be obstructing the entrance and saying, I need... Slime, I understand you are upset. We are all really... we're going through the same thing, but I need you to not go in and tamper with the crime scene, because we will understand who did this best if we are careful.
And we can't go in now? Why are we waiting?
A mob has formed and are trying to confront Aze. I need to de-escalate this situation, and I do not want to not be here for the examination of the crime scene.
It should be noted before we hit record, like we were just getting into the chat, Mario was just muttering under her breath, just like, revenge, kill, murder. I'm gonna fucking... I think you said suffering forever is what you said?
Yeah.
Eternal suffering.
Okay. So I feel like that's some needed context of the flavor you decided to bring to the table today.
Yeah, well, Slime's very upset and has never felt this emotion before. They don't know what to do, and they don't know how to handle it. And so they want to do what they want to do, which is go in there, eat Neela's brain, and investigate.
Yeah. Tell me how that works or looks.
I don't know. I just want to go in there. I don't want to hurt anybody, but I'm walking past everybody.
I mean, I feel like that's between you and Sophie. If I had an NPC, I would do a strength check to push you or something, but I just don't have a character here, so.
Okay, I just don't like pushing. In real life, sorry. Yeah. I'm just gonna pick up Phillippa with my 100 arms and then walk in.
Cat would say, Mother, stop it.
Why?
Look at yourself. You are moving Phillippa aside. You are just steamrolling past her.
Yes.
This isn't thinking rationally.
This is not a rational situation.
That is why we rely on social mores. For when we are confronted with irrational situations.
I'm gonna take a guess and think that all these people died because of social norms or whatever. So let's just fix it and go. We don't have to wait for anything.
We cannot guarantee that we can fix it right now. And also Ozzy needs help.
Well, how do we know Ozzy didn't do it?
We don't, but we do know Ozzy is our friend.
Why do we have to wait?
So that we can do everything the right way and have the largest chances of success.
All right. I will wait 1 hour.
Oh my god, a slimy ultimatum. Were you holding Phillippa up in the air this entire time with your 100 hands?
Yes. The only thing that can stop me from doing whatever I want is my little babies and Sun, Moon, Stars.
Oh god, I love this so much. You just write mold for me. Mwah. Mwah.
No, I have a plan for mold.
I bet you
Okay?
do.
You can't take one of my mold babies and turn them evil, first of all.
Oh, I have bad news for
That
you.
was a baby from my literal breast, okay? I'm gonna save my baby.
I think Phillippa, who you're still holding up in the air, says, Slime, we need to take this carefully because it was someone in this village who did this, and if we get the wrong person, and she sort of looks at your big hands holding her entire tiny owl body, she says, we could seriously harm someone
Yes, that's the point.
who did nothing and who we care about a lot, and then we would just be producing more of this. Could you put me down, please?
Not yet, I'm still upset.
Okay. Let me know when you are less upset so that you can put me down.
I will put you down when I am allowed in the crime scene in an hour.
Just let me know when you are less upset and can put me down. Thank you.
Right.
I mean, Nobi's been watching all of this and says, can we move this over to Ozzy's house so we can be there for when he gets torn limb from limb? You can still hold Phillippa.
Nobi, this is not a nice thing to say.
Well, at least you'll get to see him die. I think I can hear the bones snapping from here.
You're asking me to go to Aze when I think he is the most likely to have committed this crime.
It took me a minute to find Nobi's voice again. I missed him. It's been so long.
I've been doing a thing I used to do in order to get Jordan Peterson's cadence.
Oh shit!
Which is to do so with Jordan Peterson. Okay, with Nobi it's just a generically kind of high voice, and I do like a high roticity to have a kind of American-ish kind of accent. And with Jordan Peterson, it's Kermit the Frog delivering Kylo Ren's lines.
Oh no!
So it's like, I'll see if I can do it. I haven't done it in ages. It's like,
You wish Han Solo was your father. Believe me, he would have been a disappointment.
Holy shit!
As a complete change of tone, it's very weird not being able to interact with the scene around Neelith's dead body. I feel like a ghost watching the crime just on the sidelines, like,
jeez, yeah.
Nobi did it!
Oh god.
Nobi, how would you feel if I crushed your mother?
Oh, I don't think you should say that to Nobi.
Why?
That was out of character.
Oh god!
I mean, my mom could summon like a bunch of elementals. I think she should probably do that right now to like guard the crime scene and to pry some of your arms off.
Nobi, this is a good idea. I don't have to expend people who are in need of comfort. I do not need to expend the emotional energy of the town. I can just have elementals guard it. Thank you. If you would all meet me at Aze's house, there will be our elementals securing the crime scene in the meantime.
I still have Phillippa in my hands.
Perfect. Yes. Okay. So now we go back to where we in media res at the beginning. The mob's outside. Slime's holding Phillippa up in the air. Basil, you leave as well. Aze, you see it's Malefic, and you're like, uh-oh.
Ozzy's like, Malefic?
It's never Malefic in Grendel.
Yeah, like wait a minute, it's never Malefic. Oh, that sounds like oh shit, I recognize that mob.
That's everyone I know.
Aze walks past the curtain, closing it behind him, and then just exits the front door, like cautiously just looking out at the crowd.
Oh, you're bringing it outside?
Well, Aze is like just opening the door and standing kind of in the doorway behind Basil. So he's not like completely hiding, but the curtain is closed behind him, so the cosmology center is visible, but not the area behind the curtain at the moment.
Yeah. Who's the person really? Okay. I think of all the villagers, the person who is most upset would be Potter, because as the last governor, or as the governor who was in charge when Voya went missing, and who I guess now thinks let you slip through his fingers, and now there's more blood on his hands. He is, this big imposing bugbear man, and is just like trying to get to the front of the
oh my god
the mob to just basically start hurting you. And Venta and Hale, the people I think probably the villagers most attached to you, are trying to hold him back, but they're gonna start hurting each other.
I started thinking too much about a fictional bugbear man and how upset he is about a fictional pig and a jellyfish and a tadpole, and I'm getting really upset right now.
You did this, Sophie.
We did this, Laura.
Ozzy just sees the look on Potter's face and sees everyone else and just says, "What's going on? What happened?"
Don't play dumb. We know you did this. You killed Voya, you killed the Kitsune, you killed Ruth, you killed Neelith, you killed Very.
You killed Neelith. That's the only one I care about. So I'm coming to kill you.
We don't know yet. We have yet to look over all of the evidence in the crime scene to establish a timeline.
Slime holds Phillippa towards whoever they're talking to.
Look, I don't know how much my word says in this, but I've been with Arze the whole for hours and hours. We went on a whole lovely little tour of the village.
Arze speaks incredibly highly of Neelith, I know.
I'm in the back. Nobi just yells, "Ozzy has illusion magic. Check his house."
Look, before you start storming into Arze's house, have you got any evidence he has done anything?
One of his star maps was at the crime scene.
Would someone be stupid enough to leave something of theirs at a murder scene where they've murdered a bunch of people? That does not seem like Arze, does it?
Kat says,
He was saying to Venta the other day, he was worried that he would be inhabited by a quarry.
Shoko chucks a hammer through your window, climbs up onto the sill. Not because she's particularly invested in justice. She just wants to check out what's going on inside your house and to see your hallucinatory terrain, which is the mysterious cave. So she's just like climbing your house after chucking a hammer through your window.
Aze during all this, as once he heard like Ruth, Neelith, and Very having been killed, he practically collapses into like a ball at the doorway, like eyes wide, and he's just shaking, and he's already just on the verge of tears, and then he sees the hammer being. Then he hears like the call from Nobi and the hammer being thrown at the window, and he just calls out, "Just please, no, just don't."
Venta swoops in to put his wings around you, like to shield you from projectiles and to try to comfort you.
Unless you are coming here with some kind of actual evidence that Arze has done something, do not come here throwing accusation of murders at my father.
also, please don't throw hammers at him either.
Basil will turn just enough sideways to start using one of his legs to try and pet Arze to feel better.
Basil, I need you to understand that whether this is the case or something else is the case, the best way to establish what has happened will not be to have another trial in front of the whole village on the spot, but to talk calmly and inside and go over things.
This is what I'm saying. I have no objection to the fact that I understand why you have come after Arze. I understand why you have done this, but do not come here with the torches and pitchforks ready to burn his house down and come ask for his head on a stake.
Why?
Because you are destroying one of our friends.
Can I say that Phillippa is doing a kind of performance? I don't know if I should roll it, but like rhetorically, she's trying to take the side against Basil, but to demonstrate that both the Arze did it and the not Arze did it sides would both benefit from everyone calming down and dispersing.
Yeah, you can make a performance to the crowd.
Yeah. Okay.
For context,
20.
Basil is very on board with that plan. He is just trying. This is his way of trying to get across. Let's all calm down a minute.
Yeah, with a 20, you succeed on trying to calm the crowd down, so I think Potter stops trying to literally fight his way to Aze. I'm thinking about who else is in the crowd. I assume Sun Moon Stars goes over to Slime and tries to get your read on the situation. Marina is standing in the back. Applewhite is, I think, probably was more gung-ho on this before that 20 roll. I think particularly here's how I want to punctuate the scene as it kind of winds down, is I think Professor Gigi, no longer Governor Gigi, probably faints, like dead away into the snow.
That sounds right.
Sun, Moon, Stars, someone killed our friend. When I find out, I'm going to have a terrible revenge that will never end. Is that all right with you?
Well, it'll have to end eventually. You'll get tired, right?
No, I have a plan.
Oh, your stamina is so impressive.
Thank you.
I think Nobi, who is confident his plan is working, doesn't imagine this rebounding on him negatively at all, is like, how will you make them suffer endlessly?
You don't need to know that yet.
Terrifying. Oh man.
Neelith had a lot of friends.
Are you planning some kind of rota system where it's like, oh, I've got to go take a nap, but you can step in and do the torture next?
You'll see.
It's like an assembly line for kicking someone's ass. Dun, 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 dun.
There's like a one giant hand comic that's like guy who lost his job at the getting kicked in the nuts by a horse factory. that's just whoever they sentence is that guy just on a conveyor belt going round in a circle.
All right, so where does this move? You've I guess for the moment kind of kept it from immediate physical violence, but it's got to go somewhere.
I think a thought just occurred to Phillippa, which is that she just independently invented the idea of like police custody as a measure to protect a suspected criminal from vigilante justice. Like she's just seeing it play out, and she's like, "Oh, that's why they do." Like, I mean, internally,
yeah.
But then she's like, Aze, if you will surrender yourself to the custody of the Moist Watch for questioning, we will go to the governor's office and discuss what is going on.
Applewhite, seeing this, just like loudly says, ostensibly to herself, but loud enough that everyone can hear, just like, "Oh, I see. So the Moist Watch is going to investigate itself. That seems fair."
Ooh. Oh, God, I hate Applewhite so fucking much. She's always like this in crowd situations. She sucks so bad. She's technically correct, but she shouldn't say it.
Thank you for the compliment on the consistency of my character. Yeah, do we want to transition into a place where we can get Skitch to calm down?
Okay. Skitch, how long does it take Aze to calm down?
It probably takes the crowd dispersing at the very least. So you can at least.
Can I just say that was a masterful change of tone there. I'm very impressed.
Oh wait, one more note. In the HBO adaptation, when Aze collapses, that's one of those like Vince Gilligan GoPro shots, right? Where it's like the GoPro is on the guy facing your face.
Oh sure.
So that, no, everything else shakes around you as you fall down.
I'll do you one better. It cuts back to Aze back when everyone was accusing him of murdering Voya, and the first person he sees is Potter. And what happened the last time it happened was he remembered Potter grabbing him by his like scruff, picking him up and like slamming him against the wall.
Wow.
And just like yelling at his face, "Where's Voya? What have you done to her?" And Aze is just shuddering. And that's why he like collapsed and just immediately began crying. Was like that's what he was remembering when he saw Potter specifically.
That's amazing.
And I like even just thinking that gets me like teared up. That's how easy I can turn on the waterworks here.
Judging by that crowd's shouts, it sure seems like a lot of this is pent up people thinking that Aze killed Voya back in the day. I certainly think without that crowd would not have been nearly so quick to assume that their friend was a bloodthirsty killer.
The counterpoint to that, how is Slime feeling now a little while later? Because
oh, they're counting the time until the hour is up.
You have a different finger for every minute.
Jesus. Because Slime wasn't there for Voya, so...
Yeah. So, look, I know this isn't going to solve the whole thing, but... Aze, when we were talking... I know you are reluctant to deal with this whole Voya thing, but it's very clear that you... It's very clear that you probably know enough that you could clear your name with regards to Voya's death. And that might go some way to fixing all of this mess. And I know that that's not something you want to be doing. But I think this has rather lit a fire under your arse on this one.
Aze just sort of looks at Basil, then looks over to Phillippa, who's still being held up by Slime in this whole thing. and then simply says, What's your opinion on that, Governor?
I would really like to be put down.
No, that wasn't the deal.
I would really like to be put down.
If it's been any amount of time and she's just been being held up there, I don't think that she's like good to talk.
You get to be put down when I get to go to the investigation. That was the deal that I did not give you any ability to agree to.
Slime, Slime, I need you to put down Phillippa, please.
Why would I put Phillippa down for you? Right now, everyone's shouting that you did it, which seems pretty compelling, even though it's illogical. It would feel good to kill you.
Mother, consider that Aze probably would not drop his star maps. He loves stars. This
Logically, you're correct, but it would feel good.
It would feel good to kill your friend, Mother.
In this moment, yes.
Is that really true? Or is that just neurochemicals?
Aze, if it turns out you didn't murder our friend, I won't kill you, and I might apologize.
In the background of like the scene, like if you look out the windows, you see people milling around outside waiting for some kind of development. And also the camera definitely stops on the egregore, which is conspicuously missing a number of features it previously had. Neelith's, what was it, cooking trophy, Ruth's tentacles, and Varys' like frock.
All I want to do is look up some brains and investigate the crime scene. I'm not going to mess it up. I just want to see it. And I don't understand why we're letting her body decay.
Do you ever make mistakes, Slime?
I may or may not have had an entire village burned down because of my actions, but that doesn't seem relevant right now.
Do you ever make mistakes, Slime?
Yes.
So you could make a mistake trying to investigate the crime scene on your own.
Yes.
Okay, so you have to investigate the crime scene with the Moist Watch, not on your own.
You could come with me.
Aze, you cannot come, and I hope you understand why, but I'm thinking about this now. Your son could come as your... What is the term? Advocate.
Basil can go if he wishes. That is fine. But you still have...
It seems that at the crime scene there is going to be a strongly anti-Aze biased presence, and it would be good to have a biased pro-Aze presence. And then
I am happy to go and
right.
I am happy to go and be someone looking out for Aze's side of this, if you are going to be okay without me for a bit.
Wouldn't it be great if that's how crime scenes actually worked? You find someone dead and you're like, let's find someone who loved this dude and someone who fucking hated him, and both just let him loose. Let him poke through it.
I don't think it will clear my name entirely, but if you want Phillippa, I can tell you what happened. I can tell you at least what happened to Voya.
I would appreciate that. That would help with figuring this entire mess out.
I'll show you where I took her. We just need to go to my house.
Okay. This is hopefully... But I would really like to go to the crime scene soon so that I can be put down.
Aze wants to show us his creepy thing. Let's go.
I think an expression passes over Philippa's face that only someone who lives with her, so literally only Nobi in this scene, understands, is her, like, shoving a lot of stress really deep down inside. And then she goes, okay, we will go to your house, and then we will go to the crime scene.
How does Nobi feel about Phillippa being in distress? Just a question.
I feel like he kind of goes numb when Phillippa's sad, because he feels like it's his fault, but he doesn't know. And not just right now, but in a general sense, but because he's so like rehearsed at that experience. Like, it doesn't make a difference whether it was actually his fault or wasn't his fault.
I feel like in the mind of someone like Nobi, though, actually it's Aze's fault right now for drawing this out and like getting mad at him. You ever catch someone in the lie and they get mad at you for making it a whole thing?
Mm-hmm.
No, I agree. I agree with that kind of like that post hoc rationalization for Nobi. But asked about how Nobi feels about this situation, I think that's the thing. He just like is like numbed to everyone's suffering here. He just wants to see his game play out.
Mm-hmm. So you take everyone back to your house. I think obviously there are still gawkers looking in your windows, seeing your hallucinatory terrain. So that's not going to be a secret anymore.
Aze directs Basil, Slime, and slime-carrying Phillippa into the house. And they go through the curtain into the back of the house, where they can see the hallucinatory terrain, which shows a clearing in the middle of a forest, an entrance to a cave, and if you were to gaze above, an ever-shifting series of stars and planets. To reiterate, this is a recreation of Aze's dream, Aze's nightmare, which took place within the world above, the new world. Aze will gesture about as they enter, and then look at Phillippa, a touch sadly, before finally saying, This is where Voya is. Well, this is a recreation of where Voya is, Governor Phillippa.
Voya is up the mountain?
To explain simply, Voya lived in Grendel ever since, even before the passage to the New World existed. And ever since it was opened, she had always been studying the stars. Travelers would come through, and as the Kitsune noted to us, and as you might even remember from your youth, Governor Phillippa, anyone who would travel to the New World would first have to see Voya to be approved to go there. And in exchange, they'd return with star maps for her to study and analyze. I was one such traveler, who then became both her apprentice and a guide for others to the world above. And through that, she was able to study the stars above, along with the notes we have for the stars below in the Foundation. But between those responsibilities and her role as governor and everything else, Voya never got to see the New World. She never had a chance to see the stars for herself. And so, shortly after the Kitsune, posing as Laszlo, disappeared, Voya approached me and asked me to guide her to the New World after all the travelers returned, so she could see the stars herself. And I think the reason why she told me, and told me to keep it secret from everyone else, is because I think if anyone else knew that she wanted to leave the village in any way, they would have tried to have stopped her. They wouldn't have let her leave. And so I was the only person she could trust to take her to the stars. You could say that being able to see the firmament with her own eyes was the last piece on her basket list.
I think Phillippa says, Aze, thank you for showing and offering an explanation. I hope you understand that this will not clear your name of Voya's disappearance. Even if we are to confront that most people here in the village are concerned with you having possibly, with Voya disappearing and you having something to do with it, then
we would have to go and see where you left her. And even then, I hope you understand that there are things that you could be showing us there that would not necessarily lead us to the conclusion that you want us to come to.
Yes, I know. But I've had to keep this a secret for so long. And once I saw Potter and everyone else so furious with me, it just took me back to those days after I took Voya to the world above. And so with this secret, I just had to say it finally. Because if it turns out that I can't clear my name, then it's likely that no one would ever know what really happened to Voya and why it happened to her.
Can we go investigate now?
You know, Aze, it has been a long time. It is likely that no one can bring her back to the village anymore. So it might not matter that people know what happened to her.
Before I killed him, the Kitsune told us that his plan was to make Voya live forever, to have her be in charge forever. He even said that his plan was already coming to fruition, that he had already won. So, I don't even know what might be happening. I don't know if Voya is dead or if she is somehow still alive up there.
Because of how personally affected Aze is, I think Phillippa would turn to Basil, because of having kind of previously named Basil Aze's advocate. And she says,
Basil, is it okay if we agree that we will go up the mountain and see what is there to be seen, which again may not clear Aze's name, once we have looked at the crime scene, so I can be put down?
I think that is sensible. I think it is reasonable. I think we all recognise that this might not prove anything, but I don't know, the Kitsune seemed real convinced that Voya was still around and attainable. And as such, I've got some hope we can prove this.
Okay, Aze, we will now take you back to the governor's office to be watched by Kat and Nobi, and we will go to the crime scene. Okay, Slime, are you ready to go?
Yes.
Let's go.
I can't wait to listen to my favorite comedy podcast. I'm a normal person. Sure hope this isn't terribly alienating. That's how they sound.
they sound like Ruth.
They're gonna fucking eat this up. They love the melodrama.
Oh, they're gonna love it. Oh, for sure.
Are we gonna be one of those podcasts where we talk about our listeners like they're just the filthy slop pigs?
You want this, don't you?
All audiences are filthy slop pigs. I say this constantly.
We're gonna have 2 content warnings. Last episode's have content warning, abrupt character deaths, plural. And then this
Yum, tasty content.
This will have content warning, uncontrollable crying. Okay, let's get to the crime scene.
Content through the content hole. Yum, 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 yum.
So I don't know how much we want to get into the gory details of the crime scene. Horror writing is my background. I don't know how you all feel about it, but I know
Do it.
Sometimes our audience gets sad.
I don't need to linger on all of the gruesome details of my character's death that I'm still not quite done mourning on, so Neelith is mush, done.
The important thing to highlight is that Nobi deliberately mutilated all the bodies so that magic cannot help solve the crime. If you read Speak with Dead or something, there's specific things that need to be intact for that to work, and Nobi did take that into account. I believe we talked about that at the very, very beginning of the episode. But just to remind you, You're not gonna bust
Yep.
Nobi.
And you've definitely thought about all of the spells that could help.
I tried. Well, I don't know. I'm just saying, don't feel like you fail because you can't catch Nobi right now. There's still some season left.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm just curious at what slime does upon arriving. Like,
Just walks in, squirts the investigation.
wow, me.
Yeah.
I know, for first date jitters. I just walked in, started squirting.
I've
So anyway,
gently
I started
put down
squirts.
Phillippa because Phillippa did nothing wrong to me, but I did want to get my way. And then I walk in and just squirt.
Oh hey, a cop using power and violence and coercion to get what they want.
Yeah.
Phillippa steps outside to cry.
So to be clear, is Slime attempting to get brain stuff out of what mush of brain there is?
Well, I gotta investigate first, and then I'll eat the brain.
I see.
I'm upset because it's taking more time, and now there's more brain degradation, and I have to find all the gray matter.
Well, it's tricky in that like we all as players know the answer, but how much the characters can glean is obviously a question. How much of this?
They don't have to be functioning. I just want to eat the brain. It's emotionally important to me.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the real question is anybody gonna try to stop Slime? Because Slime seems sufficiently motivated that if you really want to eat all the brains in this room...
No,
You
only
eva- you
Neela's
eventu-
brain.
I already said Phillippa stepped outside, so she's not stopping slime.
I will back up Mari on this. That Neelith did give Slime permission to eat her brain after she was dead.
Yep.
This happened.
I'm just picturing this slime scene investigation sort of moment of like all the slimes working about sending messages back, and there's like enhance. No, that's not brains. Next.
Yeah.
No, that's not brains. No, that's a brain cell. That's a neuron. Okay, mark that down. We're going on to the next part of the scene. Okay. All right, boys, we got to case the fucking scene. I want to find all the gray matter and want to know which one belongs to Neelith.
Hopefully, there's still some Neelith to bury after this. But yeah,
Nope. Slime
get
only
those
wants the
Slugger's
brain. It is emotionally important to Slime because to Slime, getting to eat your brain means they don't ever have to let you go.
oh,
So it's important to Slime that they get to eat your brain.
You do you. I feel like this is out of my hands now.
All right, Slime investigates, and then they find every bit of Neelith-specific brain matter. And it's damaged to the point where they only get food puns.
oh, is this why you were asking for?
Yeah.
This is what Neelith would have wanted.
This is a devastating piece of information for Slime, but they take what they got, which is food puns and little bits of recipes, but not the entire one.
Can I give Slime something that in no way helps with the investigation, but might just emotionally fuck Slime up a little bit? I kind of want to give Slime the last emotion that Neelith was feeling.
Oh,
Is that something you will allow, Austin? I'm going a little off script here, but
I'm just, well, I got some popcorn. I'm just hanging out.
okay. I think the only other thing you get from consuming Neelith's brain is I think you get a feeling of deep sadness and grief, but it's not an angry feeling. It's not a feeling of wanting revenge or to be avenged. It's a feeling of just... a feeling of really, really wanting things to be better and being very sad that they turned out the way they did.
mucus falls down all 5 of Slime's eyes, and they say, dough ball hemispheres.
Was that a food pun?
Dough balls, they're spheres, hemispheres. I had to come up with more food puns on demand today. They may not be my best food puns, but they're there are puns in there.
Oh, so Mari asked for the list.
Oh, during the episode, I got asked for a list and was like, "Oh fuck, let me grab some. What can I throw together today?" Look, some of them are going to be better than others, but they're the ones that Slime got.
I love the behind the scene planning.
I love how everyone keeps acting like I'm in charge, as if Mari and Sophie haven't been in charge for months.
Yeah, gosh. Oh, boy. Ozzy's just crying some more, so I can't contribute to this other than my slime scene investigation fuckery, so...
Yeah, he's also back at the place, right? Mm-hmm. I think Phillippa comes back in and asks, Slime, did you find what you were looking for?
Frontal lobster.
Frontal lobster?
Frontal lobster!
Frontal...
You wouldn't understand. You wouldn't get it. You didn't know her.
Phillippa pauses and says, frontal loaf would have been better.
Some of Slime's hands just start grabbing at you, but they stop themselves.
Hey, you're not the one who runs a restaurant. There were already some bread-based brain pun foods on the menu. There had to be something else to make a different kind of pun to vary the menu up.
I think Phillippa doesn't really say that. I'm just...
No, stand in your truth, have conviction.
Again,
fine, she says it.
I maintain that these puns would have been better had I not been making them up on the fly. But you got what you got today, everyone.
Okay. Oh my god. Okay, my dog's crawling on my chest because she thinks I'm upset. Okay.
Okay. I think that Basil looks around this room, and while everyone else is very clearly having very emotion-based responses to what's in here, I think the first thing that catches Basil's attention, with a 14 on investigation, so above average, would Nobi have just thrown the scroll in amongst the blood and dead bodies and whatnot, or would they have carefully placed it or anything?
So... Sorry for the grim part of my imagining this murder detail here, but I imagined it as the scroll being tucked under Vary's body.
I think Basil doesn't have any empirical proof of this, but I think Basil is very much of the opinion of this is not how Arze would have treated. Like, carelessly allowing a scroll to not only, end up not in his possession, but squashed under a dead body is not how Arze treats these scrolls.
Arze's too emotionally sensitive to squish them.
Yeah, exactly. It's gotta look after those paper-based babies.
Mm-hmm.
Does Basil point that out to Phillippa and Slime?
I think Basil points it out and he goes, "Look, I know this isn't conclusive or anything, but this does not seem like Arze to me. This.
It is not good detective practice to twist facts to suit theories, Basil. I have brought you here so that there will not be a strong bias in one direction or another regarding Arze. Not to argue Arze's case here on the crime scene.
I'm saying what I'm saying, that's all.
I am concerned you may start some kind of arms race with Slime. Slime, are you going to try to find evidence that proves Arze? I hope you're not.
After squeezing you for an hour, much of my emotional frustration has decreased, and being able to eat Neela's brain has just caused me great amounts of sadness. I realize after watching Arze blabble on the floor for quite a while that he doesn't have the constitution to smash bodies.
The court finds you innocent on account of being a pussy.
When you think about it, my client is a nerd, a geek,
Yeah.
a dweeb.
Listen, does this crying pile of a mess look like the type of person who could pick up a giant pig priest and rip off his head? Does he?
I would like to point out I was also promised the pig's brain, but I'm holding back.
Sure. If you if you said that, then Phillippa would say, okay, but we are also not trying to disprove Aze here. Otherwise, I will now be countering everything. Look, Venta raised the concern, or Kat, that Aze said to Venta that Aze is worried that he could be a quarry or something. Look, there are explanations. We just need to see what is here neutrally.
Look, I understand what you're saying. I take back my opinions about what I've seen, and I simply point out, have a look at the state of that scroll. There you go. The state of that scroll should probably be observed.
It's very squashed.
It is very squashed and very covered in blood and very not taken away from the crime scene.
Like it would be if it were accidentally left somewhere and then a dead body fell and bled on it.
I mean, that does sound like you are making arguments that Arze did it, which is what we're not supposed to be doing here, because I could just argue, why would Arze bring his scrolls to a murder scene? He wouldn't do that. You're doing the thing you said not to do.
Basil, I really do not want to derail this murder investigation with an epistemological argument, but please understand how the framing of which evidence is collected can also itself be biased.
I agree. I'm purely making the point that you are doing the thing you told me not to do.
Oh.
This is a piece of evidence I want people to be aware of. Let's keep investigating.
I like how in our exploration of non-human intelligence, we've ended up with one character who was born yesterday and one who's existed since the beginning of time. And now they're on opposite ends of this and they're fighting. It's perfect. We did it.
The only other thing that I would think could be done is survival as a skill is used for things like tracking. Is there any ability to track whoever last left here, if the crime scene hasn't been too disturbed?
Does anyone think that maybe we should turn to the Bible for answers in times like these?
You want to roll religion?
No, I want to tell you what the Bible says we should do in this situation. It's one of my favorite.
What does the Bible say?
If I eat the pig's brain, do I get a plus to religion?
I mean, you role play as learning some religious stuff, and you don't have any statistical benefit for that.
Ugh, okay, well, I'm gonna eat that pig's brain because I also asked the pig.
Okay, Slime, you learn this. Deuteronomy 21. If someone is found slain, and you do not know who the killer is, the elders and judges shall go out and measure a distance from the body to neighboring towns. Then the elders of the town nearest the body should take a heifer that has never been worked and never worn a yoke, lead it to the valley that has not been plowed or planted. There in the valley, they are to break the heifer's neck. That's it.
That's it. just find the nearest town and have them sacrifice one of their cows. Just like.
And this is why you won't worship dead gods.
Fantastic.
Austin, I always love it when you quote the Bible. It is one of the things that gives me life as someone who was raised Lutheran and had to go to a Christian university.
Oh, that was real?
Yeah. That's fucking Deuteronomy.
I thought you made that up.
No, that's Old Testament shit.
How does that make sense?
I thought Mario was questioning whether Lutherans are real. Like, you know, I was raised Lutherans. That's real?
That too. What's that?
Oh fuck!
I don't know.
They're the non-fun diet Catholics. The Episcopalians are the fun diet Catholics.
And then I think Phillippa would arrange for Sun Moon Stars to come and collect the other bodies, but not Neelith's, because I think that Slime wanted to protect Neelith.
Yeah. There's not much we can do vis-a-vis role-playing, like burying people, that I think would be interesting to an audience, but I suppose there is a somber montage of that. Black umbrellas in the rain, I believe, is the only way funerals happen in media.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize the HBO series was directed by Zack Snyder, but now I guess I know.
Yeah, you didn't catch all the hallelujahs, all the needle drops.
I thought that was just very okay. So where are we gonna go? What's the next step of
I carefully placed Neela's body in one of my mouths.
From beyond the grave, Neela's just like, I'd honestly be a bit more comfortable in the flask.
No, you're in the flask in my mouth.
Oh, okay, no,
Yeah.
that's instantly 1,000% better.
Yeah. No saliva or digestive juices are touching you.
I think that if we've gone through all of that, Phillippa will say we'll bring Slime and Basil back to the governor's office, and there with Arze, she'll say, okay, the next order of business will just have to be that we go up the mountain and see what is there up the mountain, because as Basil correctly observed, many people seem to mostly believe Arze is guilty based on the belief that he also killed Voya. So, okay. Are there any objections?
No.
Slime?
No objections.
Okay, well, I suppose we should prepare for going up the mountain. Arze, can we bring you anything from your house?
If you escort me to my place, I can gather any materials I need and
Okay.
and say some parting words to Drip while there. I might need to also let Hale know to keep an eye on Drip while we're gone.
The tragedy is that Hale doesn't like Drip. That was all Inri. Inri loved Drip. Hale doesn't.
Austin, why you gotta be a coward, okay?
No, that's
not gonna
explicitly
work.
not being a coward.
Isn't it ironic?
It's like,
It's like-
Diane, on your wedding day.
That's the next needle drop on the episode.
But if they allow Alze to be escorted back to his place, there is some things he can pick up from there before they go. The most notable detail is that as he goes in, the casting of hallucinatory terrain from the prior day starts to dissipate off, and the back of the house just resumes being the home that it was. It's always been, obviously. And he pulls down a ladder and climbs up into an attic, a crawl space in the house, which used to be where he slept, what used to be his room that he stayed in while Laszlo and Voya were around. So he goes up there to get the supplies that he would have for when he's guiding people up the mountain, like a walking stick and other such things, and looks at some sentimental items that we don't need to linger on before he returns down and gives Drip the biggest hug and a pat on the head, saying to Drip, I'm going to have to leave for a while, but you keep an eye around here, and I just hope that I'll see you again when I come back.
Wait, if you're leaving, who's going to protect the village?
I think Phillippa turns and says to Slime, Slime, how are you feeling about Arze now?
Neutral. I wouldn't want to unleash my terrible vengeance on someone who doesn't deserve it. I was what some would call emotional earlier.
Okay, I appreciate that. Will you be happy with both Arze and Basil, who also is
in favor of Aze being found innocent coming with us up the mountain?
The consensus is that Aze is innocent?
The consensus within you, me, Aze, and Aze's son is more biased in favor of Aze being innocent. It's not the consensus of the whole town.
I will accept that for now. Aze, you're on thin slime.
God damn it.
Look, I know I'm being a bit on to even look for evidence of Arze being innocent. I recognise I need to not do that, but also, you know, literally everyone else in town was ready to burn him alive.
Listen.
Let me finish. I think it is defensible that my gut reaction was to, you know, offer an alternative side. Us all going up the mountain together. No one trying to burn Arze alive. I recognise the need to be objective. Now that we are in a not everyone is trying to burn him alive situation.
I still need to say it back to you because I am very concerned about your ability to be objective. I hope you understand that I need you to come with me. I cannot police a situation between Slime and Aze if it were to turn nasty on my own. And Aze has to come because Aze knows where the cave is. And Slime has to come because Slime is on the Moist Watch, whereas you... Well, you could be an honorary Moist Watch member. You already did involve... You already were involved with the Kitsune.
What is your moisture content? Let me touch you.
I am on the side of drier than wet, if that's acceptable. I'm slightly further on the dry side.
That is exactly... Well, that is almost exactly what I need right now. Drier than wet. Thank you.
If these two start fighting and they become a problem for each other, I'm more than happy to, you know, throw out two hold persons and keep the two of them at a distance. I'm not gonna, you know... Not gonna pick favourites if it comes to it.
Perfectly moisturized. In balance.
And Slime, you will not want Cat to come with you to be more on your side?
I want Cat to do what the cat wants to do.
I'm not gonna just do a scene on my own with us all having like dragged out too long already. The outcome of that is that Cat wants to stay in the town because the town may need the Moist Watch, and so more of them should. She errs on the side of more of the watch staying behind.
In that case, off up the mountain we go, I guess.
This is what you get for taking away my governor. If I was governor, I could have made all these decisions.
Taking away?
Uh-huh.
What? You rolled a dice, Austin.
You
rolled the
opted to
dice.
be on. You opted to be on the dice.
You opted to be on the dice.
Yeah, and I was lucky. Hey! If I had been rolled on that dice, maybe my character would still be alive.
And maybe they would have murdered my character.
Oh my gosh. Sliding doors.
Wow.
So anyway, I guess we need to speak to like the town as a whole before we head off, because like to let everyone know of what's going on, because yeah, like they probably should understand if like a bunch of people are just going to disappear.
I assume that the people get told that, you know, the governor is leaving with Aze to go try to recover Voya to prove, you know, whether Aze is innocent or not. But I think also the unspoken subtext is that if it doesn't pan out, like Aze is not allowed to come back.
Mm-hmm.
Oof.
It sure isn't going to be a point in his favour if this leads nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, true.
But you're leaving Kat and Nobi behind to guard the village, which is very funny. Just that them forming up Voltron.
Yep. Running around at high speeds in the Voltron formation, going wee-oo, wee-oo, wee-oo.
I mean, Aze would have just a ritual of like certain cloaks and such that he would put on that he had up in his bedroom. Though the walking stick that has that's a star map in and of itself that has the firmament and foundation kind of set on the top of the walking stick, quarterstaff type thing, and the standard things he would take along with him when he would be a guide to the new world. So it's just sort of like as a way to calm himself down. He's just trying to act like this is just like back in the day when he was transporting anyone else up the mountain.
Basil is wrapped in as many scarves as Aze isn't using.
Slime goes down to their baby crypt with sun, moon, stars and stares at them for 15 minutes and then leaves. Sun, moon, stars understands.
That's how I want to prepare for trips from now on. Just stare at people for 15 minutes and then leave without a word. Who inherits Neelith's items? Because you have 3 Beyblades, which will be important for carrying supplies, and also you have Bloops, the drone, which is going to be an important flashlight in the night.
Okay, in the kind of organizational role, Phillippa is getting those things, which I assume were just like stored at the Wind and Dyed Flayer, and says to Slime, we will need these on the mission, but I do not want you to feel like I am taking possession of them, because I don't think I am doing that. I want you to understand that these things are as much in your possession as in mine.
In the endless oceans of time of loneliness, all I have are memories. Those Beyblades will rust, and that Bloop will die. All I had was the ability to consume her mind, and that was taken from me.
I love this D&D comedy podcast.
Comedy.
D&D comedy podcast.
Jazz hands.
D&D comedy
podcast.
Next episode, we're going to go camping on a mountain and fight some fucking orcs and shit. And just
One of them's going to be called Mr. McBoner.
yeah.
It's easy for you to say when you don't have the agony of eternity with grief.
Look, when we all discover that Nobi did the murder, Nobi will go, "Oh, rats, you caught me," and then we'll trip over, and the trousers that they're definitely wearing will fall down, and
Nobi's rubber mask will be pulled off, revealing Jeff Bezos.
They'll fall over and
that's a classic season of Dice
fall
Funk.
into some muck.
In all comedy TV shows, they always end it super sad just to really wreck you. Because there's no joke good enough to end a comedy series, so they end it sad.
Yeah. This
True.
Yeah. You know, we're doing that bit where the sitcom goes like, "Hey, we're just gonna have one real fucking sad a couple of episodes, wins us an Emmy, and then we get back to being funny in a bit."
We're going to get a lot of juicy Phillippa drama. She's been sidelined for a while, so now she gets to really interact with the rest of the party, which is going to be fun. And then meanwhile, Cat and Nobi are going to play fucking cat and mouse Will Graham Hannibal Lecter in the village while you're gone.
With themselves.
Yeah. Well, yeah, when they interact, I'll be Nobi, you can be Cat, and then we'll play a devious game.
Sweet. Fab. Love that.
As far as preparation goes, I don't know if you have any other thoughts. I do want to, whoever's writing down the Beyblades on their character sheet, remember they are damaged from all the time folding shenanigans we did. They're badly burned, and so they're pretty fragile, which should add a good element of danger as you're trying to get several weeks of supplies up and down this mountain. In fact, this is going to take a couple weeks, and even if you make the best time possible, it's going to cut it pretty close to the end of the winter. So, however this shakes out, the Moist Watch will return near the end of this long, dark, cold trial that has been this season.
Yep. Yeah. Yep.
Just in time for the climax before the travelers arrive.
Yeah. Neat. Let's go hike up a mountain.
Yeah, I have sat here for a while just thinking about, like, as you're saying goodbye to everyone, do I want to have Potter try to knife Ozzy on the way out or something? And so just do a Jack Ruby on your ass, but
Jesus Christ.
I mean, I'm gonna be honest. I'm sat here going, "Oh fuck, it's gonna be a couple of weeks." That scuppers any plans of being like, "Aha, Arze could get to another downtime and learn a druid spell to reincarnate a dead body."
you blew up the afterlife, Laura.
Oh yeah, no. I'm gonna be honest. I'm not saying that this is a thing that should have happened, but there was a little voice in the back of my head going, I mean, Arze could. I think could Arze? No.
Oh, speaking of spells, I guess we should just get some other things out. We're not even in character. We're just doing the rest of this episode, just friends sitting around a table thinking about what we've done as we like eat chips with our greasy fingers. There's like enough sandwiches that Neelith made and put in the larder to keep Kat and Nobi talking through the winter. But then they're going to run out and the animals won't be able to speak anymore. But also, we all just did see Slime eat Neelith's brain and get a bunch of recipes and stuff. And wizards can eat.
I'll have to do some trial and error because they're not complete.
Yeah, I was just going to say that wizards can take the spell tongues wicked easy. So, like, from a meta perspective, it's not much of a tension.
I want to mess it up a few times, though.
From a role playing and flavor perspective, I want to throw something in. I think that should Slime at some point around, maybe before this journey up the hill, go and investigate the Wined and Dined Flare just to be like, to find out how many sandwiches there are, that sort of thing. I think that they will find that Neelith does have a recipe book in the back of the Wined and Dined Flare. And it does include, tips on how to make the talking sandwiches properly, for example. But I think flavor-wise, it also has pages dedicated to each of the people in the town, and all of their favorite meals. And there's a lot of notes scribbled around in the margins of things like, oh, so-and-so really liked when I did that, and well, if they're having a bad day, add a bit of this in. It really seems to help bring their mood up, and just a lot of nice notes in there about how to best look after her friends, scribbled on all the pages about their favorite meals.
Yeah, see, that's the kind of heart-rending stuff that I want to really hurt the audience with.
Oh yeah, no, that's
episode.
we just to give everyone a heads up, we recorded these episodes a day apart. I've spent the last 24 hours going, what things can I conceivably have Neelith have left behind that is just going to really fuck people up? So, like, if at any point you want to know, like, hey, what nice things did Neelith write about X character, I can tell you. I can tell you all the nice things she scribbled in the margins. Just to really, really, rub it in.
So Potter comes at Ozzy with a knife.
This is the kind of thing, if this wasn't a collaborative kind of thing, I would probably just be like, what if I just get nasty?
I do think that on the way out, like, there would be a moment where Potter does, like, pick up Ozzy, push him up against a wall, and, like, points at him sternly. And it's like, I didn't let this slip through my fingers years ago just to let this slip again. Or stuff like that. I don't know how would you have it in HBO or Lifetime movie rendition of it.
I think if he wouldn't actually go through with just trying to kill you with his giant big bugbear paws and in public, he might just like sidle up to Slime as you're walking out and just say, you should just cast Speak with Dead on her before Ozzy gets the chance to try to spin the situation.
It's too chopped up, too globly.
No. Voya, what?
Oh.
I mean, Voya might also be chopped up, I guess, but...
It's fine, you've got 2 weeks to prepare it.
How does Nobi feel about Voya and their whole thing?
I think Nobi views himself as having set up all the dominoes and pushed the first one, and he finds it kind of... He's trying to see the bright side of it, because it's obviously an annoyance and frustrating and boring that they aren't just killing Aze now. So he is trying to see the bright side of it and find it silly. He's trying to find it funny in his head. He's trying to like find it entertaining that they're going on a wild goose chase. But I think a part of him knows that he's like,
I'm not mad, actually. I'm laughing.
But yeah.
I'm laughing. It's funny to me.
But there's a part of him that is really worrying that it will turn and they will not blame Aze, just a tiny little bit, and he's trying to suppress that.
So as the Moist Watch gathers up their equipment and heads to the edge of town to climb Mount Grendel to eventually reach the portal at the summit and enter the new world, hopefully to put to bed the mystery of Voya's disappearance once and for all and clear Aze's name. The villagers who are left behind mill around in discontent, swapping theories and, picking sides. Potter on one side, obviously, the strongest voice, but not the only one. I think Shoko owes Neelith her life, and so is very gung-ho about solving it, if possible. But then you have
Didn't think Shoko was going to give a shit.
She gives a shit in her own way, I guess. It's not a conventional way, but she obviously is like, in her mind, it's just like, she owes Neelith, so... If Aze did it, he's got to get the hammer. But obviously Hale feels indebted to Aze because you killed his captor. Venta just likes you. I think Farmer Applewhite just has a healthy distrust of all authority in this situation. Marina had a crush on Neelith, but isn't naturally inclined to violence, so it's more of just a sadness than an anger. Gigi fainted, and no one has seen him since. Sun Moon Stars is more worried about how it was affecting Slime. Not that she didn't like Neelith and Vary and Ruth. She did, but, it's like a complicated mix of feelings.
That's her wife thing.
She's a wife guy. And then, of course, Drip, who's very sad about Aze's whole thing. Then there's also Kaboom and Kablam, who the whole episode, I was looking for an opportunity to have them show up and make things much worse. But everyone kept crying, and I couldn't find a way to wedge it in.
Is this how we stop Austin from doing mean stuff in the show? It's just like, oh, you're about to do something. Oh, no, I'm crying. You can't do it now.
Wait, it did just occur to me because of Kaboom and Kablam that there's a Baku. Is he going to be around?
Well, yeah, that's literally where I was going to go. I mean, we're not really in narrative mode. We're just once again talking around the table here. Mm-hmm. The last image I had here, once we've kind of given an overview of all the villagers and their states, is from the forest. You see the little Baku poke their head out, their little sniffy snout, because they're kind of like a floating tapir. Then you see Mold's giant, literally frost giant body kind of emerge from the trees, and birds take to, like a whole flock of birds take to the air covered in blue slime. Then 5 good neighbors, also full of slime mold, all just kind of coming out of the trees ominously. And I think you see Nobi approach. Nobi's, guarding the village in their absence. And I think Mold kneels down to Nobi and says, "Would you like some help keeping the village safe?"
And Nobi says,
You have my attention.
Of red tide. tied round their throats to keep their little heads from falling in the snow. And I turned round and there you go, and Michael, you would fall and turn the white snow red as strawberries in the summertime.